Hi everyone, and welcome to Beauty in the Garden Tarot. This is my first reading on YouTube, so I'm excited to start. I just want to cleanse the area a little bit, just kind of pre-open the space. And you might see my dog coming in and out. Sunny. No, stay off the bed, Sunny. Normally I will be filming in the kitchen, but given the fact that it's pretty late tonight, I'm going to go ahead and do it in my room. Okay, so let's get started. I am a non-traditional tarot reader, so I do and at times do read tarot traditionally. However, I get a lot of direct communication from the council and directly from source through my crown. So I kind of do and say what I'm guided to do. I'm just kind of the vessel for the information or the message to be given to the collective that they are trying to reach. Again, this message can reach just about anyone at any time. I do typically channel within a 2 to 4 week time process, but if you happen to come across this video at a later time and it seems fitting, then this message is for you. That's just how spirit works. Time is fluid. So let's get going. I'm gonna take a little sip here on my water. I'm gonna use a couple different decks. I'm going to start out with the Arc Animal Tarot Oracle deck by Bernadette King. I'll list the decks that I use underneath, so if you are interested in seeking these decks out, you can. You will then have the authors of these beautiful cards. I have mixed the Oracle and Tarot together, so it's quite large. I will at times read reverse cards, but I will only do as, I'm going to cut this deck in half when I shuffle it because it's so thick. It's hard to shuffle. So, but I will only read reverse if that's what Spirit instructs me to do. So let me see. I guess as I'm shuffling, I can tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm a divine feminine and a twin flame, and kind of a few other things that I'm still in the process of figuring out. And as time moves forward, then I'll feel more comfortable explaining that to all of you after I'm a little more comfortable with it myself. But I am the 5 clairvoyance and added with prophecy. So I have the ability to channel information from the upper realms as to what may happen or what is preparing to happen. And then, of course, I receive information from all sorts of different angles, whether it be kind of like an injection of thought that kind of goes ding, 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 kind of like a pinball machine, where it can turn into multiple meanings. They kind of use my head as a storage, so kind of like a computer memory bank, and so they don't speak in words in my ear, but they just kind of inject me with information and then touch on my memory banks, which then draws the information out and me to share with you. So I do also see visions, auras. I read energy. I do healing. I do some memory drawing, so basically reading thoughts and trauma. I do trauma healing. I do a lot of different things. So I guess as time goes on and I get more comfortable in reading tarot on YouTube, we can talk more as we go through the cards together. and kind of you guys can kind of, I guess, learn with me as well. So I'm excited to get to know all of you. So let's get going. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna move some of the stuff out of the way. Oh, I forgot to add my other deck, so let me quick shuffle. I do want to just shuffle a few times on camera so people can see how spirit works and how it's done, because I know that that's something that I used to question, or I wondered how or what, but sometimes you'll actually catch some things going on in real time, so it's kind of neat. So I go ahead and make sure I do that. Okay. So I'm going to pull 3 cards, and again, they might be tarot in a mixture of oracles. And then I'm going to pick a past, present, and future. And every now and then they give me a couple, maybe 2 cards. Typically don't take 3 for each spot, but if they want me to, I'll take 2. But we'll start with just the idea of a past issue that you're working on, presently where you're at with it, and future where you're going to be going with it. I typically will channel for people that are very invested in developing their soul, developing their person, developing their life's purpose, their life's mission. But honestly, I have a variance, a wide variety of what and who I can pick up with information for. Spirit is plentiful with allowing me to be able to channel that through. And just a little extra is that for the past 25 years, I've also worked as a mental health therapist. So I do have quite a bit of experience in the mental health department. But I try to kind of push that aside and just kind of be a vessel, hold a safe and sacred space for spirit to use me to bring a message to you. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. And you might see me shuffle in kind of weird ways as far as stacking and going. I just kind of go with what they tell me to do. And so I'm being drawn to those. We're going to go ahead and put these aside. And I'm going to go with what... So I'm going to do that as the past. Here we go. As the present. And as the future. Give me one more card. Okay. So let's put this over there. We're going to figure out where they want me to put this, since this is the reversed. So what I'm being told right now is this extra card is going to look at an area that is of difficulty for you. It's going to focus more on what it is that you're working on, and in areas of support and giving you guidance and giving you direction. And then this card over here might be something that could relatively even be hidden from you. We'll kind of see as we move it along what Spirit wants to add. But again, it is the reverse, so that's telling me that it's something that's either difficult or something that you're not necessarily aware of. And they are drawing me back to the bowl, since that's something that I didn't do. Sorry, I'm still learning along with you. But I do love my singing bowl, and my children got it for me for Mother's Day. So I want to go ahead and play it, and so we can kind of clear the area as well as draw in information into my third eye, as that can be helpful for this reading, and hopefully send some vibration to you. To help balance whatever chakra, even though this is designated more to the third eye. As we all know, if you balance one area, you kind of balance them all. So, or it helps to balance them all. We'll go ahead and start. let's get started. So let's take a look at in the past, and this would be more of the recent past, so sometime within the last year. But it can extend as well, but it is necessarily talking about, like, if you take the last year or so. It might be a little bit of a judgment call, though, given the fact that there's been a lot of blocked and stuck energy for basically the last year. So maybe it can, they're just saying that it could extend a little bit longer for you, but the message that I'm getting is a lot of what will be talked about tonight is going to be about things that maybe were brought up because of the lockdowns, because of what's going on in the world, and being in more close proximity to family and friends. Maybe your work changing, your career changing, your job changing, not having a job, housing, family structure. I mean, just so Spirit is really kind of pulling in that a lot of this kind of vibe is the change in your vibration as a result of being kind of flushed with emotion. They're saying that's what will happen a lot too, is they'll alter the way I speak words. So I'll kind of seem like I'm rolling out my words, or I'm flubbing them up, or stuttering or something. So they'll go ahead and kind of hit that part of my brain, and then I'll say a word incorrectly, which will remind me of another word, and that's a message that they're asking for me to share. So the flushed is about, a lot of emotion has been brought up to the surface, and so they're gonna, I guess this is more of a collective view on just the emotional discord that's happened, and why they were again directing me to not forget the singing bowl, to help kind of balance out the vibration. Because remember, as you balance out your vibration, not only is your life and your relationships and your reality happier and healthier and balanced and just joyful, but it also, there's a vibration to the world in general, and the world is definitely something that we need, regardless of your vision or your spiritual beliefs, or where you are at. I think that most people would agree that, you know what, having a better world is better for all. So let's get started on that. In the past, we have the Otter. So we have the Six of Cups, which, as some of you may know, it's about, there's a lot of soul connections there, past lifetime connections there. The Otter to me is something that really represents, some of you guys in the past have really found yourself just feeling very safe and very much a part of your community, and whatever that looks like, whether that's more of a closed community, or that's more of a neighborhood, or that's more of, a culture, whatever. But you kind of felt very comfortable in that space. And Spirit is telling me that although that was, you may have put in a lot of hard work, that may have been a reflection of who you are and where you are in your life path, it may have hindered or prevented the motivation to kind of reach out and do some other things, to branch off in different directions that typically wouldn't have been comfortable or something even of interest for you, just because life was kind of going along just fine. It was really comfortable. It was sweet. It was good. So Spirit wanted to say that, even though maybe some drastic things have happened in this last year for you, they have happened for your highest good, even if they don't feel that way right now. And I definitely have experience of having, towers come in, and it definitely not feeling very good, and not feeling very comforted by Spirit or by people telling me that, well, it's for your highest good. So I understand, kind of like, what? I don't really want to hear that. But that's the truth. At the same time, it also reflects on, in the past, that if you weren't pushing yourself beyond some boundaries, you weren't doing some different things, it's kind of like it's bringing me, because this idea, the otter is also this idea of your inner child, and understanding that we're kind of both our mother, our father, and our child, our baby. We're the baby, the mother, and the father. So we have these three pieces um, that we need to balance, that we need to nurture, that we need to attend to, that we need to push, and we need to treat them very differently given the role that they play in our life. So this inner child, the spirit is directing me to say that, not so much to say that it was neglected, but it's kind of like the child is growing. And in the same case as, let's say you have a 3-year-old, you don't treat your 3-year-old the same way that you treat your 13-year-old. So some things would maybe be rustled up a little bit because your 13-year-old needs some different training, needs some different direction, needs some different guidance. And Spirit is really guiding me to help you understand that it's not necessarily anything that you've done wrong or that you should feel ashamed about, or that they're saying, feel a lot of like shame. That shame is really what's coming out. And just understanding that, as we grow, as we develop, we make the wrong turn. I make a lot of lefts. I like lefts for some reason. And it's just really about learning from it and getting back onto a path and on track that is projected from your own soul there on out. So in the past, in the last year, some things have happened. Some things have been rustled up within your comfort zone, your square. And Spirit is just saying it's okay. It's happened for a lot of people, and there's a reason for it. There's a rhyme and a reason for it. So let's go on to the next card. The next card is the koala. And this is like really your present moment, like where you're currently kind of at with yourself. And so it seems to me that Spirit is really wanting to talk about family dynamics, about your relationship with yourself, and just maybe how things have changed as a result of your environment, and your world has changed given the virus and the lockdowns, and just the change in financial security, maybe emotional security, and relational security. So the koala, oh, well, it makes sense that this would be the present. Because the koala, the nice thing about these cards, and this is an oracle card, is it gives you 3 main words to kind of understand, maybe more of a collective understanding of the card in itself. And the 3 words are tribe, stability, and circumspection. So if you think about it, and what we were just talking about, Spirit was really directing a lot of attention to changes that are going on within your comfort, within your environment, your bubble, per se. That's what they're giving me, your bubble. It's time to, they were forcing you out of your bubble. And so even though maybe it might not necessarily feel very stable for you, and there's a lot of change coming, there's a lot of things that you can't control, Spirit is saying that that's when it's most important for you to let go. And in saying that, again, going back to this understanding that when Spirit speaks through me, a lot of times they really encourage me to share some of my personal experiences. And that's part of, I think, of why I have gone through so many ups and downs throughout my life, is as a means to be able to connect with other people that even though our stories might be different, we can have some very similar emotional experiences, and I can relate to understanding that when, when Spirit really started pressuring me to make some changes in my life this last time around, which was about a year ago, the idea of letting go of control. First of all, I don't think I was really aware of just the intensity of how much I needed to control. I thought that I'd done a pretty good job of learning to kind of take a back seat. However, Spirit made sure that I knew that wasn't quite accurate. I still had my hands in a lot of pots. But again, when I felt so insecure about myself, my world, my environment, my family, my stability, my financial backing what was going on. The idea of taking my hands more off of the steering wheel seemed ridiculous, and actually it seemed a bit crazy to me. But it actually turned out for me to be the best thing at that moment. And unfortunately, I was forced to do that. Again, I understand free will and how that works, but Spirit does have a way of pulling those towers when they're necessary, because they do want to see us move forward and do the best that we can. So what's being said to you all right now that are connecting with this is basically understanding that, you know what, you're not alone. And actually being alone is illusion. Spirit is always with us, and some of us are able to better connect to the fifth dimension, and others are still working on that. So neither here nor there, they are always with us. And so they're just asking that if you're struggling, for you to go ahead and call upon them, and then they can try to work a little bit differently to make themselves known in different ways. It's important for you to trust wholly and solely, and you might end up Spirit contacts and directs us in different ways. So you might feel something, you might think something, whether it's even coming in your own thought process. You might dream something, someone might call you. There's just so many different ways that they kind of throw that out to help you. But they're really wanting me to push this idea that even if things like really feel out of sorts and out of your league, that this is temporary, and just to keep pushing forward and plugging forward, being honest with yourself and putting people in front of you and around you that are supportive. And that might be difficult, because guess what? What if you were talking about a family unit? When hard times hit, they just don't hit one individual, they hit the whole family unit. And it's traumatic for there's a ripple effect. So that could be something a lot more difficult to, and I'm not laughing at any of you, because I know this from personal experience, that, this idea that, you would say with somebody that's depressed, well, just get up and get in the shower. Well, sometimes people don't realize, getting up and get in the shower, or go to the bed. I mean, some people would rather, lay in bed for 50 days, not rather, but there's just no motivation to do it. And they don't have the support getting them or helping them to do it. So Spirit is just saying, even though things may be really tough right now, just keep plugging away. And again, one of the things that they're saying is really working hard at not pointing fingers. Some of y'all might be the finger pointer and whose fault it is, and they're just strongly encouraging you to focus less on whose fault it is and more on what you can do about it. They said you have plenty of time to do blaming later. Let's get yourself focused and motivated to get back up and get back out, because they're just saying you'll get to a place that you need to be. You'll get on track. Your soul will find its direction. Your human heart will figure out how long you want to prolong the suffering. That's what they're saying. So it's up to you. So focus less on blaming others people, or looking at what you don't have, or what's preventing you from doing or reaching out or choosing something different, and focus more. And I don't like to use the word positive, because positive sounds so cliche, like, well, just be positive. I mean, what does that mean? But more in the area of focus more on what you can do, what is working, what you can be grateful for. And if you can't find the words for it, because guess what? Maybe you're there. Maybe you're at a place you literally can't find the words for it. Take a moment, and there's a bunch of different sound hurts music that's on YouTube that you can pull up, that is just neurology is working. It's best by itself. By just listening to it, it's helping different neurons connect. It's changing the way your pineal gland. I mean, there's just so many different things within it. But it's just spending a moment of what we would traditionally call meditation. But it could just be a moment of stillness. a moment of stillness. And that could include taking a bath, that could include laying, that could include praying, that could include singing, that could include writing, drawing, painting, taking a walk with headphones to some favorite tracks of yours and just losing yourself. And there's so many different things that you can do to be still. And that can help gain some clarity or gain some moments that, if anything, even if you didn't come up with any pivotal understandings or different methods of doing something differently or moving in a different direction, they're just saying that you just gave yourself 10 minutes to take a break from the world, from the problem. 10 minutes to breathe. And that in itself is healthy. And is raising your vibration. Because remember, it's about raising your vibration. It's not about clearing every problem, leveling out every mountain. Because honestly, the world would be so ugly if it was flat. I mean, that's just part of life, and it's part of learning how to walk the path. So that's presently what Spirit is wanting to say about where you're at, and then the future. It's saying the bat, the hangman. So the hangman traditionally is about, going within. And that's kind of what, well, not kind of, but that is what Spirit has been talking about, is just taking a moment to kind of reflect and look upon yourself. And what are you doing for yourself? And of course, we want to talk about unconditional love. And not in, again, the cliche way, like, be positive, but in truth. The vibration of the world is all about unconditional love, and unconditional love has to start with ourselves. And it's a really hard place to look at yourself and work through things that are going on around you when you have a very poor vision of who you are. And maybe you have a poor vision of who you are because you've done some pretty crappy things. Or maybe you went down the wrong path and messed up, in a huge way. Or maybe some just pretty crappy people have come your way and treated you. I mean, whatever that may be, if your mood is not in balance, it's not in the right vibration, it can be really hard to get back here at the hangman, where it's asking you to surrender. It's asking you to face the darkness, to look at yourself, and to not just sit there and focus on the things that went wrong or what's wrong about you or why people should be justified in being upset with you. And that may all very well be in there as well. But on what you can do about it, what you can do to redeem yourself. Because part of the hangman is about, being able to have powers of prediction. Knowing that, if I believe in myself, if I can do things differently, if I can just do it today, if I can just focus. I mean, that's what the Serenity Prayer is about. It's not just about for sobriety. It's about for living your life, living a life free of guilt, shame. We all have remorse. I mean, that keeps us from making the same choices again and again. But it prevents us from digesting that and letting that become a part of who you are, which then it becomes shame. It's about being able to let go and say, yep, did that, it happened. And then at the same time being able to say, but these are the things that I'm doing now to build an empire, to build a strategy, to build a direction, to find me. To work on accepting who I am and what I am, what I have, and then focusing on what it is that I want. So Spirit is just saying, you know what? It's okay if things are moving slowly right now, and they're not moving at the pace as you would like it. As long as you're giving your best effort. And that doesn't mean, saying, well, things are pretty crappy right now, so this is all I can give you, kind of throwing crumbs out for yourself or for other people around you. But they're just saying, you know what? Give it your best effort and keep plugging at it. Keep sticking with it. And so it makes sense that, Spirit didn't want to land with that card, because we basically talked about the same thing all through. Well, of course you would want to talk about the same thing through all the cards, but it was the same message, just being elaborated on. So it makes sense why Spirit wanted to go ahead and bring an extra card in and to share something that's hidden. So the Martin is hidden, and Fortune, tidies, camaraderie, and the crown chakra, which, you know what, is wonderful. I mean, if you think about, um, if you think about what we've been talking about, so you're talking about, with these three cards, really having to kind of rethink your dynamics of who you are, rethink your dynamics of who you find as your support. Where your security, financial, emotional, relational, spiritual support comes from, and struggling, because maybe a lot of things have changed over the last year, and that they're saying, but this is what's coming in. What's coming in is that you're going to have some fortunate events if you do the work. You can't sit back and just say, well, you know what, in time good things will come. I mean, that may happen. But that's not how permanent soul change happens. That's not how the vibration of who you are and how you relate to the world happens. It happens through hard work. It happens through working through difficult times. And that doesn't mean that you invite difficulty in, but if you find yourself in the midst of it, you have to move through it. That's the only way to do it, is to move through it. So Spirit is just encouraging you to do that, and saying that they are bringing in the support that you need, and for you to just continue doing what it is that you are doing, and have faith that they're looking out for you. And they're saying that, you know what, underneath some of the debris, there's some real support, and they're kind of giving me two different ways of looking at it. Actually, three. The first thing that they're talking about is kind of doing some reflection. They're talking about the support, internal support for you. So the whole unconditional peace within you, the rebuilding within you. And they're saying that sometimes going through memory albums, photo books, the photos on your phone, and just reminding yourself of fun times that you did have and the people that you did spend them with. And kind of just losing yourself, because that could be a mindfulness skill as well for you right now. Another area that they're talking in is they're saying that, you know what, there is a high probability that there are some new people that could be coming into your life, whether that be friendships, romantic, networking, employment-wise, but they're saying they are sending people your way. It's about setting good intentions and following through on the path to allow that to happen. But that is not just possible, that is happening. They are sending that in your way. And then lastly, they're saying for those of you that are very private, and that may have a more difficult time reaching out to other people, whether it's because of the relationships you have with them or your privacy, your personality style. They're saying there's a lot of support that's online now. They're pulling me. There's a lot of support that's online now, because they're talking about that this has a lot to do, it affects the mood a lot. So there's a lot of mental health issues that are stirring up for a lot of different people, and given the limited contact that people that would normally already struggle with this, they're saying, and now just actually getting out and getting to the store, and that maybe talking more sociably with people at the store was their type of friendship connection, not having that, and forcing people to stay more at home, so they don't even have that outlet, has increased the mood instability. So they're just saying that there's a lot of support online to talk about these things and share your experiences and gather with other people. And they're just encouraging people to go ahead and reach out versus continue to isolate, even if the world is telling you to isolate, that there are other ways that you can reach out interpersonally to improve your circumstance, to improve your quality of life during this time that's difficult for you. So that is what they have to offer about that. I'm trying to think what they want me to do. I was going to possibly pull some charms, but what I will do is I will pull a couple of these chakra stones, and basically this will talk about the different areas within your chakra that are out of balance or that need more work or more reflection or just more attention to. So let's see what they're going to draw. So I'll try to just grab two. So there's one and two. All right. What Spirit is drawing me to is this idea of balance, which fits nicely with what we've been talking about. That, you know what, a lot of life is lived in the gray, but a lot of what we project and how we think is lived in the white and the black. And so you can see how if life is lived in the gray and we think and do things in the white and the black, it doesn't flow smoothly, they're saying. So they're suggesting that you take a look at some of the things that you're practicing on a regular basis, some of your habits, and think about maybe changing one thing that could actually improve your health and however you're looking at it. Now that could be your spiritual health, that could be your relational health, that could be, you know, your financial, economic health, that could be whatever it is that you find in your life that you're struggling with. And given the fact that we've been talking about relationships tonight, I would suggest that it would probably be gearing more towards that. And think about things that you could do that would ground you. So, I don't know if you can see it, but on the back of my door, I have a chakra calendar poster. And so the root chakra, which is at the base, so it's the first chakra, is really what grounds us to the earth. So trying to get out into earth. And I know if you're anywhere up where I'm in Minnesota, it's cold, so it's not as easy, but just trying to find things that you can do, moments, even if just getting out and going to the store, take your hat off or pull your mask off and before you get to the car and take a breath, and you can put it back up, given your area and whatever's safest for you. I know that there's different regulations that are going on, so please follow those. But there's swimming pools, you know, there's workout centers. There is maybe just not drinking so much caffeine, or maybe putting down the glass of wine, or, I mean, having a piece of fruit instead of a candy bar, or whatever that may imply to you. Taking the stairs instead of the escalator, however that looks. But they're just encouraging you to do something that's a little more grounding in efforts to actually expand it to some of your habits within your thinking. And when you feel very restricted in your thought and that it has to be this way, they're encouraging you to ask yourself why. And again, you get to make the answer for that. There's no right or wrong, but just asking, I know that there's been plenty of times that I've been forced into looking at an idea that I have or a belief that I have, and then when I ask myself why, I'm kind of like, well, I guess I don't know. And sometimes that encouraged me to make some alterations, some changes to how I think and how I went about things, and ultimately made me happier. All right, well, I'm going to end it there for today, and I will hopefully get back on tomorrow and do another reading. All right, everyone. Love and light. Take care. Bye-bye.